Hello, I'm Janna and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. Today we're going to be creating some backgrounds with distress inks and distress oxides. Today is going to be all about stenciling and stamping techniques. If you'd like to see exactly which supplies we're going to be using, go ahead and pause here. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. Today is all about stamps and stenciling and a bit of blending. So let's start with some basic blending. We're going to be playing with distress oxides and distress inks. So let's go ahead and start with some distress ink. And we're going to be using a piece of mixed media cardstock. And for blending tools, we're going to be using some of the lovely dome foam. So I have got a whole stack of inks. I'm just going to run through quickly what we're going to be seeing today. We have got picked raspberry, lumberjack plaid, carved pumpkin, squeezed lemonade, twisted citron, mermaid lagoon, prize ribbon, salvaged patina, and wilted violet. So we've got all sorts of colors to play with today. There are so many colors to choose from, but I wanted to go for bright and cheerful. So let's go ahead and work on our first blend. I decided to go for a classic rainbow blend first, and we're going to be using picked raspberry, squeezed lemonade, and mermaid lagoon. So we're going to want the corresponding blending tools with their dome foam. I like to have one dome foam blending tool for each of the main color categories. So I need the pink, the red-ish pink, yellow, and a blue. Okay, there are many other ways that you could definitely blend out your colors. Brushes are a great tool, and there's many other foam applicators out in the world, but these I find very, very comfortable to use. Now, I'm going to start lightest color first, so we're going to go with our squeezed lemonade. Okay, and let's just readjust the camera just a teeny tiny bit. There we go, that's comfortable. All right, so with these, the main thing is don't just stomp it down on the paper, kind of go in at an angle and start off your substrate. That's why I love the glass mat, and then slowly blend it on there. Now I've already got some of the yellows on here, so we might be getting a bit of mustard seed as well as the squeezed lemonade. That's okay. I don't mind having a few colors here. But eventually that squeezed lemonade is definitely going to be more noticeable. But either way, we've got a lovely yellow that we are working with. That's interesting. I'm getting definitely more of a mustard seed at the moment, but that's okay. So just blending, using nice circular motions and going off onto the glass mat makes everything glide nicely. Okay, so we're good with our yellow for the moment. I might come back and touch it up later. And then let's go in with some of the picked raspberry. Okay, so we've got picked raspberry. Let's take some of that, pick it up, and blend it. As you can see, we're getting an absolutely gorgeous blend. We need to start off the mat and work onto the media. There we go. And a little bit more over here. Okay. Pretty good. So now I want to go in with some of that beautiful mermaid lagoon. Now I'm not quite sure what we're going to get because I already have something on this blending brush. It might be a bit darker than mermaid lagoon, but that's okay. Okay, that's looking pretty mermaid lagoonish. Nice. Ooh, and look, we're getting all of the beautiful colors because these layer beautifully. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. I think I do want to go in with a little bit more of that yellow just to even things off. So let's get some more of that yellow, and then we'll be all set with this gorgeous blend. Just want to darken that up a little bit. There we go. Ooh, that does look really good. I love that. Kind of just smoothing off the edges and trying to blend everything in seamlessly. There we go. And turn. Good. Now this is what I love about blending. It's very, very soft, very, very pretty. And with just the 3 primary colors, we've already got a lovely rainbow background. Check it out. So, so pretty. Okay, so that would be background 1. Now we're going to do a gradient background. And let's switch it up to some Distressed White Heavy Stock. This is absolutely wonderful for blending, and I think it runs very, very smoothly when working with the inks. All right, for colors, let's see here. I kind of want to do like blue. Yeah, let's do that. That'll be pretty. Okay. So let's see here. I'm going to need that and this. So we're going to start with the Salvage Patina, blend into the Mermaid Lagoon, and then the prize ribbon. So we'll just take that Salvage Patina first. I'm kind of dabbing off my blending tool on my flower sack cloth, just trying to get some of the Lucky Clover that I previously used off the dabber so we won't overwhelm the Salvage Patina. Okay, well, let's go. So putting lots of ink on here and starting off the mat. Okay. That should be very pretty. So I'm going to want to darken that up, but kind of just want to build a little bit of a layer first. There we go. It's a very lovely color. Definitely one of my favorite newer ones. Okay, just doing nice soft circles back and forth. I do have a little bit of a line going on here. When I was cutting up my paper, I had a little misfire, so we've got a little crease, but not a problem. I usually cover a lot of my edges with washi tape once I'm in card making mode, but then again, I might decide to die cut this one up. Okay. I'm happy with that first layer. I'll definitely be going back and dipping into the inks again, just so we can get our transition smooth. Now let's go for the Mermaid Lagoon. And starting off on the edge, starting with the darker color near the bottom, then working my way up so we get a very smooth transition. And then it's all about the circles. And the transition did go pretty well. All right, I'm going to go over that with the Salvage Patina. There. Now it's blended. Okay, and a little bit more Mermaid Lagoon. All right, now let's go in for some prize ribbon. Okay, we've got prize ribbon starting off the mat and working our way on. Salvage Patina is definitely a much stronger blue. So I want it nice and dark near the base. Then we just taper it off as we move into the other color. There we go. It's not bad, but I feel like I've lost a lot of the Mermaid Lagoon. I'm going to grab an extra dome foam and see what I can do. Okay. There we go. All right, and this is just going to be Mermaid Lagoon with no extra color added. There we go. Very nice. Let's see what that does. There we go. Now it's definitely more Mermaid Lagoon. Okay. And a little bit more Salvage Patina. Very good. I am liking that quite a bit. And I just want to finish off with a little bit more prize ribbon at the bottom. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think you can see the transition pretty good. Very nice. Okay, I'll go ahead, set that aside. And now I want to do one more blended background with Distress inks using warm colors. I'm kind of thinking, oh, what am I thinking? You know what? That would be a fun combination right here. And maybe just a teeny tiny bit of lumberjack plaid. Oh, do I want to do a gradient? I could. Or, something more abstract. I'm kind of leaning towards abstract right now. All right, let's go abstract. So we'll start with the yellow. Okay, just nice circle still. Try to make that as bright as we can. Good. All right, we don't need the blue at the moment. Put that back. I do want the red though. So let's spin the spinner. Got our red. Good. And just a little bit of red. Not a lot of red. It's going very soft with this. Ooh, it's nice. I like it. And the red is our lumberjack plaid. Good. Now I want to go in with the picked raspberry. This is going to brighten things up again. And I've switched back to the mixed media cardstock. Okay. There we go. Ooh, very pretty. Okay. And just a little bit here, and then we're going to start slipping in the orange. And for our orange, we've got some carved pumpkin. Now, this is going to be a beautiful, bright background. I like it. Okay. There we go. Got some lovely orange now. It's definitely getting brighter. Okay, and over here. So I think I will finish off with some picked raspberry just to blend everything seamlessly together. Okay. Just kind of going over everything, smoothing the rough edges out. Yeah, this is pretty good. I like this. Lots of color, some very soft transitions, which is just what I was going for. Okay, so we have our next background. Now we're going to be switching over to Distress Oxide inks. Now for the Distress Oxides, I actually use a completely different set of blending foams. I have two sets on the go, one for regular Distress inks and one for the oxides, because oxide into Distress ink does not work well at all. It will transfer those solidish particles and not play nice and leave residue on the ink pads. Now, incidentally, if we go from Distress ink, which is dye-based, to the oxide, which is pigment-based, it is not an issue, but don't do it in reverse. Pigment to dye, not good. Okay, let's see. So first we're going to take a look at the inks that we have for options today. I tried to narrow this down to some of my top favorites. We have got Picked Raspberry, Festive Berries, Crackling Campfire, Mustard Seed, Mowed Lawn, Wilted Violet, Salty Ocean, Iced Spruce, Peacock Feathers, Mermaid Lagoon, and Shaded Lilac. I have got so many favorites, it's hard to narrow it down, but when you have 72 plus colors to play with, well, it's hard to pick. So I want to start with a random blended background first, and then I think we might go into a rainbow gradient. Let's see here. I want to do Peacock Feathers, Mermaid Lagoon, and Shaded Lilac. That should be a really creamy, dreamy combination. So I'm going to set the others aside for the moment. And let's play with these. Alright, so we need a purple. That is our lightest color, so that makes the most sense to start with. That is gorgeous. Okay, let's go ahead. Now, these just lay down like a dream. They're so soft and oh so blendable. And, you know, I do not play with oxides as much as I should. I do tend to forget that they're in the toy box, because I always go for my sprays and my spritzes first these days. But this is a great time to play with oxides, and I do love oxides for stenciling. That more solid opaque color is perfect when stenciling. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's go ahead and go for some peacock feathers next. Okay, and ooh, very vibrant. Wow. I had forgotten how nicely these just kind of slide into each other color-wise. It's just, that is such a seamless blend. Wow. And this is a great reason to just play and take a small look at just one corner of the puzzle that is the world of distress. Sometimes you got to narrow your focus and just emerge into one creative play session for kind of just one thing at a time. I know I'm definitely guilty of wanting to use every possible medium for creative casserole. I do like throwing everything I have at a project, but sometimes it's so fun just to explore one element on its own. Alright, now let's go for that Mermaid Lagoon. Okay, starting off the mat, blending in. There we go. Definitely will have to go back with Shaded Lilac to finish this off. Ooh, so vibrant. Okay, and more over here. All right. Beautiful. All right, so we'll finish that off with the Shaded Lilac. That is such a good color. I love cool tones, and as you know, cool tones are always my go-to for when I'm making, and I think you can see why. It's a relaxing color. It's very vibrant, very pretty. These colors just make me happy. Okay, and blend. There we go. Very, very good. Okay, so that would be our first oxide background. Set that one aside. Now I want to move on to a rainbow gradient. And I decided to go with some more Distress White Heavy Stock. And we're just going to use 3 colors. And we'll see if we can't get that same beautiful transition that I got with the Distress Inks. So I'll start with the Fossilized Amber. Just right along here. Good solid blend because we're going to be getting the green and the orange out of this. It's not nearly as vibrant as the dyes, but it packs a punch with all of the pigment. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Now let's go into the picked raspberry. There we go. Fresh dabber. And starting off the edge of the paper, working our way over, down and in. Ooh, that's pretty. I like that a lot. Ooh, I really like that. There we go. That's such a good transition. Very, very pretty. All right. Now we're going to switch over to the Mermaid Lagoon. Actually, you know what? Let's try the Salty Ocean. Why not? That's very vibrant as well. Okay, I'm just going to use that. Hold things steady. My fingers are starting to get inky and I don't want to mess up this beautiful rainbow blend. Starting off the card and working our way forward. Okay, and the blue is going to go all over this side of the paper. There we go, nice slow circles. We're starting to get that beautiful green here. Very pretty. Okay, and I want to finish this with a dash of the mustard seed before I go into that final color that's going to make us our purple. There we go. Okay, really good. Okay, and let's get that picked raspberry back. Good. Picked raspberry, and that can go right over here. As you can see, we have a beautiful purple now. All right, there's our rainbow gradient just using the Distress Oxides. So pretty. All right, now we have time for one more background. Let's see here. Ooh, I want to do something kind of different. Let's see. Let's use the Mowed Lawn, the Wilted Violet. Ooh, I don't know, kind of want to do warm colors? I don't know. Oh, that would be really different. I don't know, there's so many colors to choose from. Definitely want to use Wilted Violet. Let's try these three. Okay, Wilted Violet. Ooh, I'm going to add a dash of pink too. Okay. There we go. This is going to be more of an abstract background. I don't really have a plan for it. I just want to get some beautiful colors on here and see how they blend. All right. Well, let's go for the peacock feathers next, and then I'll see about the crackling campfire. Okay, not bad. Let's see. Let's go for the crackling campfire right now. Let's see what that does. Ooh, it's bright. Very bright. I think I like that. Interesting. Giving me like a little bit of rust. You know what? I don't think I want the picked raspberry. I think I want this. Well, that's unexpected, but this is why playing with colors is so fun. Because you sometimes use combinations that you might not typically think of and then get something kind of neat. Okay, yeah, I like having that little kind of rusty, grungy bit in here. All right, let's see. How do I want to finish this off? I want a bit more purple, I think. Then I'll brighten up the peacock feathers and call this done. There we go. Turn. Turn again. Great. And finish it off with peacock feathers. Oh, this turned out better than I thought. I'm very excited about this color combination. Okay. And there. And there. Turn. One more. Beautiful. So now we have some nice backgrounds to play with as we start doing some exploration with stenciling. So just bring these back for the moment. Do a quick little recap and see what we have. We've got our oxide backgrounds. Very pretty, very mellow. And then we have our very vibrant distress ink backgrounds. So the first thing that I want to do is just some direct stenciling. And I'm not even going to use the backgrounds yet. We're first going to be pulling in a piece of the Distress Black Heavy Stock. And that is going to give us our first base for stenciling. Now, I want to pull in one of my favorite stencils. I'm looking for one with a lot of detail in it because I want this to show up very clearly. The question is, where did I hide it? There it is. As you can tell, this stencil's gotten a lot of love. It's gotten a lot of use. So I thought this would be a good one to start with. And we're going to be switching our tools around. We've been using the mini Tim Holtz distress blenders. Now we're going to switch to the tiny distress blenders. So let me just quickly put these away, and then we can start with the others. Okay. I have a stamp carousel. I'll try to take a picture of that later. That I like to keep all of my inky tools on. Makes it so much easier to find things. Now, as we know, we cannot use distress ink on a black background. Dye-based inks are transparent, so they would not show up at all on our beautiful black background. But we can use distress oxide because those have pigment in them, and that will definitely show up on our background. So what I want to do is a bit of stenciling on here, and we're going to pull in the tiny blending tools. There we go. They're very small, very nice, and great for getting into little corners for detail. Now I'm just starting my collection of mini ones for the oxides. So let's start with the purple. We're going to use some Shaded Lilac and some Salty Ocean through this and see what we can get. I think these are going to show up really well because the colors are fairly light. So the hope is that they're going to really pop on the black. So I'm just going to load this up with lots and lots of ink. That's looking good. And let's just go for it. We're going to start stenciling. Now, my only concern is this open enough? You know what? I want to change stencils. I'm not certain that's going to be open enough to catch all the beauty that the oxides offer. But I'm definitely going to use that stencil later, so we're going to keep it out. see here. I don't want flowers. There we go. I think this might be trellis. That's really open. That's got lots of space. So we should be able to see what we're doing. All right, plenty of ink. And we're just going to start blending. Now, you can definitely tape this down. You could use a grip mat. I just didn't happen to grab any. So we're going to make kind of an abstract pattern. And then we'll just fill it in. So same idea as what we've been doing with our paper. We're just working through a stencil this time. Just getting the ink on here. And then we'll see about blending it out. And get some nice transitions, I hope. The shaded lilac is showing up really, really well on the black cardstock, so that's a good sign. It's very opaque, so that should be really nice. All right. Now I'm just going to switch blending foams. And we're going to switch to the blue. There we go. Okay, I've got some blue. We'll add that. And start blending. So I'm just being pretty light-handed. I don't want to overwhelm that lovely shaded lilac. I'm just going to work our way around. I'll definitely come back with the shade of lilac just to even things out. There we go. So far, so good. And over here. Good. And over here. All right, time to switch colors. Oh, that was very, very vibrant. Okay, that was Salty Ocean. All right, let's finish this off. There, I think we did pretty good. Let's lift and see what we got. Ooh, yeah. That worked out great. And you know what? I just want to finish off that background. And let's see here. I'm pretty certain I can line this up. This is a repeating stencil, so there's no reason that we can't get this to match. So why not? We'll just continue the pattern. Good. Okay, and we'll finish off with that other color, our Salty Ocean. All right. That is turning out really, really good. Okay, great. And there we go. Our entire background using the Distress Oxides with a stencil. And for reference, this stencil was THS 019. Okay. Now we're going to be trying some stamping through a stencil. We've got some beautiful backgrounds and I've got some interesting textures that we should be able to play with. So we're going to be pulling in a stamp set or two. Let's see here. Ooh. There's two that I want to try this with. So we have got Shattered CMS 466. And I also want to try this with the Plaid from Mr. Rabbit CMS 478. Now we're going to pull in two of our backgrounds. Let's see here. I want to use that one and this one, I think. Yeah, that will be good. Okay. So the idea is going to be to stamp through a stencil to get a pattern on here. Okay, so we need our giant stamp. And I've got a stamping block for that. There we go. And now we'll need a stencil. Let's see. We want a really open one. Oh, there's a good one with circles on it. Maybe that one. And there's another good one with rectangles. Let's see here. No, maybe. Yeah, this is the one I was thinking of. Okay, that one, and then I want one more. Ooh. You know what? The squares would be really good. I like that. Okay. So with the squares, we're going to match that with the crackle, and the circles are going to go with the plaid. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to set that right here. And I'm going to ink this up with some Distress Archival black ink, and then we're going to stamp that through the stencil and onto here. Now, I believe I did see this on one of the many Tim Holtz demos. I want to say it might have been one during the pandemic, but can't quite remember, but I do remember it was a Tim Holtz technique that I'd originally seen. So I wanted to play around with that since we have some more fun background stamps to try out techniques with. All right. So lots of ink. Tapping that out, and I'm using some Distress Archival black soot. Now I'm using the archival ink over the Distress ink because we're going to get a crisper image when stamping. All right, let's center this up. We're going to put this right here. Okay, and we're going to turn the stamp. All right, good firm pressure. And let's hope everything goes according to plan. This will be interesting. But I think that crackle could look really neat. It's going to give us a cool mixed media feel. Alright, just kind of doing pressure all over this. I really want this to come out. First try. Alright, let's see. Okay. I've got something. Not quite as much as something I was wanting, but there's no reason that I can't ink this up again and try stamping the other direction, because we do have a lot of open spaces on here, so it is hard to kind of figure out where the most of the stamping is going to appear. So I guess I'm not too worried about that. Can do that again and stamp in another direction. Because it did work, but I want more texture. Alright, let's see here. So that's like that. Well, just looking at it in general, it is kind of neat. Alright, let's see here. Right about there. So I want like an extra piece of paper to kind of try to block something off. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to change the direction I'm stamping in. Okay, let's try that. All right, let's just try it. Okay, it is interesting. It's not quite what I was hoping for, but we definitely got some interesting little impressions on here. So that could definitely make some good fodder for die cutting at a later time. So we're going to try with this, and we're going to use that. And we're going to use a smaller stamp this time. Maybe a smaller stamp will get into some of these spaces easier. Okay, take that, set that aside, and now I'm pulling in that plaid from Mr. Rabbit. This is a much smaller stamp, it's more fragmenty, and maybe this will be easier to put more pressure on to stamp through the stencil. So again, we'll just ink that up, and then just try it. Not everything has to work. Sometimes stuff seems like a good idea, but maybe I forgot a step here or there. That's okay. It's fun to just try, and even if something doesn't quite go right, well, I can chop it up and stick it into something else. All right, let's take this, and we're going to really press this down. This should work. And it did. Okay. So now we're going to ink more of this, and we'll stamp again. So maybe the key is a smaller stamp, smaller area, more pressure. Interesting. Okay, put that here. Yeah, because the smaller stamps are easier for me to push down on. Maybe we just need that extra pressure in order to get through the stencil. Yep, that is appearing to work. Okay, more ink. Good. Oh, get back here. And let's go this direction. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. And that did work pretty well. So I am just going to do a little ghost stamping on the side, just to use up the other bit of ink and to kind of bring it all together. All right, cool. I like that. It's kind of a different sort of background. Not my usual type of thing, but I'm trying to do a few things that are different and new. I like it. All right, moving right along. Now we're going to be talking about water stamping. And again, that would be another wonderful Tim Holtz technique that I've heard of. But I've got some stamps that I thought would be really fun to play with for that I haven't used in a while. We're definitely mixing up with old and new right now. Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to kind of try to organize myself, put some stuff back. We're going to try the water technique with stamps and with stencils. So the question is, which stamps and stencils do we want to use? And I did bring out a whole bunch of different options for us. All right, that would be a good one for stamping. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. And this one. I think these are two that might work. Yeah, I think these will work for the water stamping. Let's try that. Okay. And we'll put the others aside for the moment. And let's grab a background. Let's see here. We've got a few. What do I want? Let's use that one. And we're going to use this. Okay, let's grab the stamping block, take that, and all we're going to do is spray this with water. I'm going to move my other backgrounds out of the way so I don't accidentally spray them. I'm just going to take the distress sprayer, and we don't want the stamp drenched, but we do want like some water droplets on here. So I think this is pretty good. Just going to tap that a little bit where I see a little too much water. And we're going to take that, and since the oxides and the distress inks are water activated, the water is going to work some magic as we stamp it. And right here should be great. Good firm pressure. Hold that a moment. Good. And lift. Yep. Now we're just going to quickly dry that off with the Ranger heat tool. That worked out perfectly. It's very ghosty, very, very cool. We're not going for like super clear image. We just want the texture and the rough idea of the image. Beautiful. Look at that. Now I'm not done yet. I want to do one more stamping, but I need to wipe off my stamp first because it's got a bit of pigment and color on it. And again, we'll give it a good spray. Perfect. And we're going to stamp in the opposite direction. Okay, just like that. Good firm press. Lift. Awesome. And I'll give this a quick dry with the Ranger heat tool. Last thing I want to do with this background is just add a few water droplets just to finish it off. So I'm going to hold the sprayer back, do some slow squeezes, and get just a few droplets of water just to finish this off. Perfect. Here is our background. We've done some stamping with water, and then we drip dropped a bit just to add some more visual interest. I want to do one more with this technique, and we're going to switch up our stamps and use some flowers. And for that, let's pull in this background. That's very pretty. We'll add some lovely flowers to that after we put away our other stamp. Okay. So that's a really easy technique that we can use to add visual interest to a background. All right, let's grab some flowers. And let's go with this one. So this one's a little bit more open. I'm not sure if this is going to work as well as the other one, which was pretty solid, but let's give it a shot. Okay. I think we're good. Well, let's see how it goes. And this is going to go right here. Press that down. And lift. Yep, that looks okay. Let's dry it off. Okay, that turned out pretty good, and I want to do one more little stamp on the side, so let's go ahead. We're going to spray the same one again, but we're just going to stamp at a slightly different angle. There we go. And stamp. Great. Wow, this is working way better than I thought. So we'll go ahead, dry that off, and call that one done. And that is gorgeous. So ghostly and pretty. Very delicate. All right. That is fantastic. Well, let's move on to some spray through stencil, but we're going to use water. All right. So that stencil we talked about earlier, the one with the flourishes, I thought that's the one that we would bring in for this part. Now, I find this technique a little bit harder because the spray is harder to control over larger spaces. At least that's what I found. So let's just give it a shot. See what happens. Okay, we'll dry it off and see how we did. Okay, let's do one more with another stencil. I'm still really happy with the way this came out. That is so pretty, very subtle, but very nice. Okay, so I want to do one with this beautiful rainbow gradient that we have. And I was thinking we'd use the one with all the pretty flowers on it. So go ahead and line that up, and we'll give this a really good spray. Okay, and we'll give that a quick dry and see what we get. Ooh, that came out really nice. I like that. It's very pretty. It's interesting that the gradient shows this in different ways. The yellow has the least amount of ghosting going on, but all the other colors, except for the purple, are really, really vibrant. It's very interesting. The blue seems to really show off that ghosty effect the best. I love it. That'll make a fun background to play with. All right, so we're going to be wrapping up with a little bit of fun stenciling. And we're going to be pulling in some distress watercolor cardstock. Now we're going to do this in two parts. First, I want to create a background for us to play on, and we're going to do that with a bit of spray. This is the quickest way for me to put down some gorgeous color for us to create with. And we're going to be mixing it up with an unusual color combination. We're going to be using some Salty Ocean and some Abandoned Coral Distress Oxide. Not my usual mix of colors, but I'll just keep it fun. We're just going to mix things up today. So let's start with our Salty Ocean. Very vibrant, very pretty, and a dash of Abandoned Coral. Okay, so we're going to get that to move, and we'll put this on fast forward as we get this to drip, move, and go from there. Here is our completed background, and we used Salty Ocean Distress Spray Stain and Abandoned Coral Distress Oxide. Two very different colors, but we have a beautiful background. Now, I want to add some purple to this with another oxide, and we're going to be adding some florals. This is the last component that I want to discuss. So in addition to the teeny tiny blenders, which are absolutely fun to use, we also have the distress brushes. Now I love these for stenciling because they are really good at getting detail. So this is the brush, and this would be the teeny tiny blender, both of which are great for stenciling. Now the brush, we'll uncap that. It's got a nice metal barrel. We've got some natural bristles going on here. Now the cool thing about the brush is that you can shrink this or extend depending on how floofy you need your bristles to be. So I'm going to use that to add a bit of stenciling to this background. And I've already got the perfect stencil for it right here. This is THS 031, and it's a beautiful floral. And I just want a few flowers on here to finish off this background. All right, so we're going to grab our brush and our ink and see what we can do. So we've got some Wilted Violet. I'm going to start this very low, that way we can scoop our ink. Now with these, I don't have a dedicated set for oxides because these are super washable and they're very easy to clean off, so I can work between multiple ink pads. Okay, let's add our ink. There we go. And let's brush this on very carefully. So I'm just sliding the stencil over. Here looks good. All right, now let's go ahead and start stenciling. So I'm just going to keep my finger here so I can raise and lower that little slider portion. Let's see what we get. It should be very pretty, and I think the purple is going to be a great highlight against the colors that we chose for the background. Okay. Looks good so far. Need to reload. Now, in some ways I do prefer the mini dome foams because they kind of hold a bit more ink. I have found with the brush that I do need to reload a bit more, but on the other hand, I like the size of this and it's really comfortable to use. So there are pros and cons to each tool. Okay, more ink. There we go, getting there. Now again, if you're using stencils, definitely feel free to use the grip mat or some tape to hold everything down. It definitely makes things easier. I just keep forgetting to grab mine. It's probably sitting on one of my other tables. Okay, almost done. Can't wait to take a closer look at this. Okay, let's take a look. Ooh, that is a great color combination. I love that. And you can see how soft that blend is. It's very, very pretty. Okay. And that would be some of our stamping and stenciling. Oh, you know what? Before I'm done with this, I do want to stamp just a little bit. I want some text in the background to finish off this piece. And I want to grab my favorite text right here. And this is from Stamp Set Ledger Script CMS 241. I use this one so much, and it's my favorite to finish off backgrounds. Okay, we've got that. I've got my stamping block. Let's make sure that's going to stick. Should be good. All right, let's get some ink. And we'll just take that. Oh, let's see which way this is going to go. It's going to go this way, so I just want a little bit of the text. I use the stamp for so many things. You can tell it's well loved and has gotten so much use. Definitely one of my favorites. Okay, so we're going to take that. I'm going to put that here. We want to put lots of pressure on some points, but not so much on others. I want this to be a little bit uneven. All right, let's take a look. There we go. That's pretty light. That's just what I was hoping for. And that, to me, really finishes off this background. Okay, let's take a look at all the stenciling and stamping fun that we've been having today. And we've created a whole bunch of fun backgrounds to go into our stash. So let's start. We've done some blending with Distress Oxide and Distress inks. We tried stamping through stencils. We got some interesting results, a little mix, but a lot of fun. Then we blended Oxide and stenciled onto Distress black heavy stock. Very vibrant, very, very pretty. And we also did some Distress watercolor stamping, and look at the results. These are so cool. I love that. Very ghostly, very fun, and very, very pretty. And look at these, so delicate. I love that on the background. And we did a few more through stencils because why not? They're fun. And we got some really great results. And then we finished off with some classic stenciling and a little bit of stamping to make this fun background. And this one has got so much in inky depths. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner for some stencil, stamping, and inking fun. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. And until next time, happy crafting!